All right, what's going on, guys? Hope you're doing good. Welcome back to another video. Old Don B's going to be talking a little bit in this video about Sebastian Rogers and kind of what's going on with that case on social media and stuff like that. So, Sebastian Rogers has been missing for around 8 months now. Nothing really new from police or anything like that. It seems like Seth, Sebastian's biological father, he's really upset. Can you imagine, your son's missing, police, I guess, are acting like they're still at square one. Not talking to you, not giving you any updates or anything like that. And at the same time, you find out that the household that he was in was allegedly, involved in some CPS reports, right? So, I guess Seth Rogers got a hold of those CPS reports and was not really too happy with what he found out that was in them. And anyway, there was some chatter going on social media that, Seth Rogers may drop some bombshells in those CPS reports or go over them or something like that. So what I'd like to do is, because I was curious, I was like, can he do that, right? It's like, can he do that? So I asked Google, and Google said no. But there's kind of a little bit to go over here. So I'm going to grab my computer and set it in front of the camera so I can just look at you guys kind of while I'm reading it. So bear with me just a second. All right. So in regards to releasing, I basically said, can a parent release CPS reports to the public? The answer was no. A parent generally cannot release CPS reports to the public. Most states consider Child Protective Service records confidential and prohibit their release without a court order. Okay, there's the kicker, without a court order. So maybe Seth is trying to get a court order to release the information in the CPS reports. I'm sure he would love for the public to know kind of what Sebastian went through in the household with, Chris and Katie. So they would bet that they would definitely be in the report. What happened would be in the report. Interviews would be in the report. Everything would be in the CPS reports. But according to this, you do need a court order to release any information in a CPS report to the public. And it says, meaning a parent cannot share them publicly without violating the law. It goes on to mention some key points to remember. Confidentiality laws, child abuse and neglect reports are legally considered confidential or confidential information to protect the privacy of the child and family involved. So there's that. Exceptions may exist. In some situations, a court may allow limited disclosure of information from a CPS report case. But this would typically only occur if there is a compelling reason and safeguards are in place to protect identities. So again, it says in some situations a court may allow limited disclosure of information from a CPS case. But they want to protect identities in it. So, and again, it says here, identity of the reporter is another key point to remember. The identity of the person who reported a child abuse case to CPS is usually kept confidential and cannot be released to the parents. So I think really what Seth was wanting the public to know is, you know, if it was a bad situation that Sebastian was in over at the home on Stafford Court, then, and it was bad, you know what I mean? I think what's going on, Seth is probably at his wit's end, because the other side is probably like, you know, we're great people. There's nothing wrong with us. You know, we're great people. We don't know why CPS was even involved in our household over on Stafford Court. You know, according to the other side, you know, they may be presenting themselves like, you know, hey, there was no reason, period, for CPS to even be at the house on Stafford Court interviewing us, investigating us, you know, whatever. But knowing and getting to see what's in those reports, like Seth Rogers has, maybe it tells a different story, and Seth would love to share that and say, hey, there's lies being told here. There's lies being told here by the other side, and there was some concerning stuff going on in that household. It was investigated, and, you know, these were the findings. So maybe Seth is trying to get a court order to release some of that information. I don't know. It sounded like maybe that's what he was waiting for, you know, because I forget who he said. I think he might have said it on either another YouTuber's channel or Court TV or something like that. But he said he was waiting for Monday to get here. And he was just going to leave it at that. Oh, I think it was on Josh the Lab. Great channel, by the way. If you guys haven't subbed up to him, he's Josh over at the Lab, and everybody that he's associated with over there. Great people. Mr. E too, Mr. E Crimecast. So trying to see if there's anything else here to go over. Okay, no, that's just as far as the, you know, keeping the person who called, you know, DCS or CPS, whatever it is, where you live at. It just means that they can remain anonymous, you know, and all that good stuff. But anyway, guys, I just wanted to find out if Seth could release any information in the CPS reports. And according to the internet, he can, but he has to go get a court order to be able to do it, and he has to only release. He's limited as to what he can release in that, you know. So let's see here. Again, it says, you know, child abuse and neglect reports are legally considered confidential information to protect the privacy of the child and the family involved. So, you know, with it happening, you know, if the investigation was something happening over on Stafford Court, then, you know, that's the family involved. You know what I mean? So I'm not sure if a court order, I'm not even sure if Seth would be granted a court order with this being a high profile case. With this being a high profile case, I don't know if a judge would rule or would okay a court order for it to be released to the public, you know, especially if there's a ongoing investigation, you know, in regards to it. But, you know, there's always a chance. And if Seth does and is able to get a court order to release some information in the CPS reports, man, is that going to be telling? Is that going to be telling? So we're waiting to hear, I guess, maybe, you know, if Seth has hit a roadblock legally with being able to release that information. You know, if he doesn't, like if he does get granted, you know, if the court says, yeah, you know, you can release it, you know, and he gets a court order to release it, it's going to be very interesting, guys. It's going to be very interesting. So we'll see what happens. But I just, you know, old Donald B thinks just because it's a high profile case, the investigation's still ongoing, even though they're still at square one. I don't really think they, you know, I really don't think Seth will have too much luck in getting the court to let him release anything in the CPS reports. I really don't. And now, if he does, if Seth says, you know, screw it, I have nothing to lose. I've lost Sebastian. I don't have nothing else to lose. You know. I mean, is it a misdemeanor if Seth releases it? Is it a felony? You know, has Seth, I mean, I don't know. Seth may not have ever had a record. I mean, he worked at the sheriff's office, so he probably doesn't have a record. You know, if he does decide to do it and says, you know, screw it, I ain't got nothing to lose. You know, I've lost everything. I've lost my son, and that's everything to me. I have nothing to lose. I'm releasing this crap. You know what I mean? And, you know, in a way, I can see the courts going, okay, you kind of wasn't supposed to do that, but I can see why you did, and I can see them being, you know, really lenient on how they handle it with Seth. Because seriously, guys, Seth can say he has nothing else to lose, which he don't, in my opinion. You lose a child, you lose a spouse, you lose a family, you know, a very close family member that you're very, very close to, in a manner that this has taken place. What else have you got to lose, right? What else have you got to lose? So we'll see how all this plays out, guys. Let me know what you think about my thoughts and opinion on this. I know Mr. E may be talking about this later, I think at 8:30. So definitely check in with him on his, I think he's going live around 8 or 8:30. Should be a great live. He always has great lives, him and the gang over there. So definitely go check them out. I'll be watching it. I'll be in there, you know, listening. So it's something to pay attention to. And, you know, again, in case the information comes out one way or the other, man, you know, man, it might be shocking, guys. It might be shocking. So anyway, that's all I got for you. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you on next one.